youth, and that they are really working hard. You can encourage, first of all, you can make changes in your own life, but you can encourage changes by your family to change the light bulbs and the windows and the insulation and the transportation patterns. You can encourage your parents to urge changes in their workplace. But the individual changes that we make, as important as they are, and we all have to do that, I urge that, that is much less important compared to the actions we take as citizens in a democracy. Because it's as important as it is to change the lights and the windows, it's more important to change the laws and the policies. And in order to change the laws and the policies, those of us who have learned about this, as you have, those of us who care about it, as I'm certain that you do, should get active in advocating for changes in laws and policies. I personally have seen many examples of young people, 14 years old and even younger, who have been persistent in writing letters, in talking to the elected representatives who represent the areas where they live, demonstrating that they have taken the time to learn about this, and that's the first step, learn as much as you can. Incidentally, I have a new book coming out. I can't believe I didn't say this. November 3rd, I have a new book coming out called Our Choice, and it will be available in Espanol shortly after the English publication. And all of the profits my wife and I are giving to the Alliance for Climate Protection and the Climate Project to use for more persuasion and information sharing. But a lot of the solutions are, it's a book about solutions. But learn as much as you can about it, and then advocate for policy changes. When the elected and appointed officials that you talk to realize that you've taken the time to learn more about it than they know about it, then you are going to be surprised at how much of an impact that you have.
Thank you very much. And then one last question. What is really at stake if we do not change the present course of CO2 emissions? And one final word for Argentina.
If we did not solve this crisis, the scientists tell us that it would not be many years before it spiraled beyond our ability to solve it. We still have time, but we cannot wait a long time. Because the day will come not too long from now when the next generation will ask one of two questions. If they see the North Polar ice cap completely gone, desertification, deep droughts, terrible destructive floods and storms, tropical diseases covering the temperate zones, hundreds of millions of climate refugees, the disappearance of coastal cities and low-lying areas, and no prospect of turning it around, they would be justified in looking back at us in the beginning of this century and asking of us, what were you thinking? Why didn't you act? Didn't you care? Or they will ask a second question. If they look around them and see a world in renewal, with millions of new jobs being created in solar, wind, geothermal, efficiency, sustainable agriculture, sustainable forestry, sustainable fishing, and they see the people awakening to an ecologically sustainable economy with a higher standard of living, then I want them to look back at us and ask, how did you find the moral courage to rise and solve a crisis that so many said was impossible to solve? That is the question I want them to ask. That is the question I want to answer. And our answer is one we have to start giving now in what we do, not just in what we say. There's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We need to go far, quickly, and the time to start is right now. Muchísimas gracias.